M. When one sees God, does one see Him with these eyes? Master. God cannot be seen with these physical eyes. In the course of spiritual discipline, one gets a love body, endowed with love eyes, love ears, and so on. One sees God with those love eyes. One hears the voice of God with those love ears. One even gets a sexual organ made of love. At these words, M burst out laughing. The master continued, unannoyed. With this love body, the soul communes with God. M again became serious. Master. But this is not possible without intense love of God. One sees nothing but God everywhere when one loves Him with great intensity. It is like a person with jaundice who sees everything yellow. Then one feels, I am verily He. A drunkard, deeply intoxicated, says, Verily, I am Kali. The gopis, intoxicated with love, exclaimed, Verily, I am Krishna. One who thinks of God day and night beholds Him everywhere. It is like a man's seeing flames on all sides after he has gazed fixedly at one flame for some time. But that isn't the real flame, flashed through M's mind. Sri Ramakrishna, who could read a man's inmost thought, said, One doesn't lose consciousness by thinking of Him who is all spirit, all consciousness. Shivanath once remarked that too much thinking about God confounds the brain. Thereupon, I said to him, How can one become unconscious by thinking of consciousness? M. Yes, sir. I realize that. It isn't like thinking of an unreal object. How can a man lose his intelligence if he always fixes his mind on Him whose very nature is eternal intelligence? Master, with pleasure. It is through God's grace that you understand that. The doubts of the mind will not disappear without His grace. Doubts do not disappear without self-realization. But one need not fear anything if one has received the grace of God. It is rather easy for a child to stumble if he holds his father's hand. But there can be no such fear if the father holds the child's hand. A man does not have to suffer anymore if God, in His grace, removes his doubts, and reveals himself to him. But this grace descends upon him only after he has prayed to God with intense yearning of heart and practiced spiritual discipline. The mother feels compassion for her child when she sees him running about breathlessly. She has been hiding herself. Now she appears before the child. But why should God make us run about? Thought M. Immediately, Sri Ramakrishna said, "It is His will that we should run about a little. Then it is great fun. God has created the world in play, as it were. This is called Mahamaya, the great illusion. Therefore, one must take refuge in the Divine Mother, the cosmic power itself. It is she who has bound us with the shackles of illusion. The realization of God is possible only when those shackles are severed." The Master continued, "One must propitiate the Divine Mother, the primal energy, in order to obtain God's grace. God Himself is Mahamaya, who deludes the world with her illusion and conjures up the magic of creation, preservation, and destruction. She has spread this veil of ignorance before our eyes. We can go into the inner chamber only when she lets us pass through the door. Living outside, we see only outer objects, but not that eternal being, existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. Therefore, it is stated in the Purana that deities like Brahma praised Mahamaya for the destruction of the demons, Madhu and Ketab. Shakti alone is the root of the universe. That primal energy has two aspects, Vidya and Avidya. Avidya deludes. Avidya conjures up woman and gold, which casts the spell. Vidya begets devotion, kindness, wisdom, and love, which lead one to God. This avidya must be propitiated, and that is the purpose of the rites of Shakti worship. Footnote: Shakti worship. In this worship, a woman is regarded as the representation of the Divine Mother. Footnote ends. The devotee assumes various attitudes towards Shakti in order to propitiate her. The attitude of a handmaid, a hero, or a child. A hero's attitude is to please her, even as a man pleases a woman through intercourse. The worship of Shakti is extremely difficult, It is no joke. I passed 2 years as the handmaid and companion of the Divine Mother. But my natural attitude has always been that of a child toward its mother. I regard the breasts of any woman as those of my own mother. Women are, all of them, the veritable images of Shakti. In the northwest India, the bride holds a knife in her hand at the time of marriage. In Bengal, a nut cutter. The meaning is that the bridegroom, with the help of the bride, who is the embodiment of the divine power, will sever the bondage of illusion. That is the heroic attitude. I never worshipped the Divine Mother that way. My attitude toward her is that of a child toward its mother. The bride is the very embodiment of Shakti. Haven't you noticed at the marriage ceremony how the groom sits behind like an idiot? But the bride, she is so bold. After attaining God, one forgets his external splendor, the glories of his creation. One doesn't think of God's glories after one has seen him. The devotee, once immersed in God's bliss, doesn't calculate any more about outer things. When I see Narendra, I don't need to ask him, "What's your name? Where do you live?" Where is the time for such questions? Once a man asked Hanuman which day of the fortnight it was. "Brother," said Hanuman, "I don't know anything of the day of the week or the fortnight or the position of the stars. I think of Rama alone."